A drop of light is an experimental interactive installation system that explores relationship between human, light, and sounds in the digital age. The system uses real-time computer-generated holographic pattern to create a unique immersive experience that challenges our perception of these elements under the dominant global digitization trend. In the Structure Light Lab, a helium neon laser was used as a source of radiation. Via using two mirrors, the laser beam was directed to pass through a pinhole that was used for spatial filtering of the light beam. Next, a lens was used to broaden the beam that passes after through a collimating compound of two lenses. The obtained collimated beam illuminated a digital micromirror device. The DMG board crafts the holographic pattern according to the instructions it received via MATLAB code. The generated holographic pattern reflected to the CCD camera that transfers to the PC. The first produced digital holographic pattern was in a static image. I had to modify the MATLAB code to instruct the DMG board to craft an infinite series of holographic patterns in an open-ended loop. After that, I redesigned the code so that the final digital holographic spot produced a mutual responses to the surrounding noises. On the one hand, the developed holographic spot splits into two copies. The gray spot is the original non-responsive one, and the colored spot, whose pattern and positions are affected by the frequency of the surrounding voices. On the other hand, the interactions between the two versions of the holographic spot synthesizes a machinery melody in nonlinear rhythms. Via using Touch Designer as a real-time engine, I designed the prototype of the interactions audiovisual scenario between the interactor and the optical setup. From one hand, the system receives the interactor voice remotely via smartphone and sends it to the speaker on the optical bench. The holographic MATLAB code receives the interactor voice as input to analyze and map their frequencies values onto the color and position of the holographic patterns. On the other hand, the CCD camera transfers the affected holographic pattern to Touch Designer environment in real time. In this way, the real-time interactive installation was built to remotely communicate between the installation's optical setup in the Structure Light Lab and the exhibition place. Therefore, the holographic spot was generated, sustainably developed in the Structure Light Lab, and transferred to the exhibition room through ongoing real-time generation process, producing a responsive communicative environment. So once the holographic pattern is separated from the optical bench and transferred in real time in the exhibition place, it could be interpreted within the context of the feeling of the interaction with the artificial process and how this artificial process will be interacted with the nature performance came from the performer. Integrating a performer into the interactive system enriches the interactive installation concept and embodies a clear relationship between artificial and human performativity. However, the invited performer had to be trained in integrating with the holographic spot's visual, sound, and rendering process compositions in real time, creating a responsive and ever-changing hyper environment.
With Dr. Dia, he made it clear to me what he wanted, and I was very happy about that because it's more easier when someone tells you what they want and how they want it. So there are three elements that were involved in the working process. He mentioned that the project involves human body, human voice, and also it involves communication with the installation system. So when I practice my art as well, I had to consider these three things.
By revising the interaction scenario and adjusting the programmed instructions of the optical setup, the performer could acoustically emulate and mimic the synthesized nonlinear melody produced by the internal interactions between the holographic pattern, but in a human sense.
One of the important things that Dr. Dia noted is that this is not a concert, you see. So we are actually making an experiment, you see. So we are experimenting with a voice. I will explain it like this. One would ask, what is integration of a voice, of a human voice, by an installation system, you see? So when you are trying to integrate a voice with an installation system, you work with the natural sound of a human, but you try to kind of invert it in some way or to match it to the sound that is required. So I had to have that kind of flexibility. He said to me, 100% flexibility.
Through this emulation, the performer performed a set of hymns regarding light in both English and South African native language. In response, the holographic pattern realized some hymns, converted them into text, and sent them back as the performer's voice echoes. I preferred to position the performer in front of the holographic spot, so that she faces the holographic patterns that oscillate between the gray and the color modes, depending on the performer's voice frequencies. This oscillation refers to the constructive and descriptive conversation between the performer and the generated holographic pattern, and embodies today's human sense of hesitation between being in a technophilia state or in a technophobia state.